If we understand how to classify core stability exercises, we can recognize that there are ways to deliver more efficient training programs. Speaking broadly, you have four categories: anterior, posterior, lateral, and rotary. The anterior core muscles, located in the front of your trunk, resist excessive lumbar extension. The posterior core muscles, located in the back of your trunk, resist excessive lumbar flexion or rounding. Your lateral core muscles resist lateral flexion, or in other words, help you from tipping over. And last but not least, the rotary core muscles resist excessive rotation through your lumbar spine. Once you appreciate what each of these core stability categories entail in terms of functional demands, it's easier to understand how to categorize the exercises. Therefore, when it comes to categorizing an exercise, ask yourself two things. 1. Where do I feel this working? And 2. What movement am I trying to resist at my lumbar spine? If you want to truly grasp this concept, I encourage you to follow along with me so you can feel the exercise for yourself to better understand the concept of the core categories and movements.
You lay on your back, knees line at the hips, hands line at the shoulders. Naturally have an arch here. The goal of this exercise is to keep your lower back pinned against the ground. So we do a posterior pelvic tilt, rib cage is down, now the band is pinned. I'm going to keep it there throughout the duration of the exercise. Opposite arm and leg go towards the floor, back to center, and opposite, while keeping this pin the whole time. With that said, if you followed along, you should have really felt it in your anterior core and resisting extension. Therefore, your dead bug is only categorized as an anterior core. Next up, stability ball rollout. So I'm here. From here, I'm going to let my hips go towards the floor, and then I'm back up. So in this movement, I'm resisting extension because I don't want to end up like this. Overarch my lower back, looking up. Right. So in order for that to not happen, I have to keep my rib cage down and my hips neutral. So because I'm resisting extension and I can feel my anterior core muscles working, your stability ball rollout is also just anterior core. Moving on to side plank. So for your side plank, elbows line at the shoulder, legs are straight out, bringing your hips up, and you hold. I'm resisting lateral flexion, right? My hips want to come to the ground, but I'm not allowing it. I'm using my muscles to keep me squared off here. Therefore, your side plank is a lateral core exercise. Now, with that said, could I argue that side plank also has an anterior core component because I don't want to be overextended while I do my side plank? Yes, you could. And I wouldn't even say argue. I would say you should assume your anterior core is working in all core exercises. That doesn't mean they'll be categorized as anterior. It just means doing core exercises in an extended position is not a good idea. Therefore, this anterior core should be firing to keep you neutral. Will we necessarily categorize it as it? No, not unless it's mostly a prime mover. Side plank is primarily lateral. On a power press, so I have resistance coming here from the right. I press straight out and I'm back in. The band wants to pull me like this, but I'm resisting rotation by keeping my arms straight and my torso straight. Therefore, your Pallof press is a rotary core exercise. Front plank. Elbows under the shoulders. Legs are straight. I'm feeling this in my anterior core. I'm resisting extension because my body and gravity wants to pull me like this. but I'm keeping my hips tucked and my rib cage down. Therefore, your front plank, is an anterior core exercise. Now onto bird dog. Bird dog, tabletop position, opposite leg, opposite hand, reach out. I'm back to center, opposite hand, go. So in this position already, I'm resisting extension, right? So my anterior core muscles better be working. I'm also using my posterior because I'm using my glute to keep my lumbopelvic area neutral. But this is also anti-rotation because I will go from 4 points of contact to 2. And I need to resist the urge to rotate my hips. Therefore, your bird dog, 3 birds, no pun intended, one's down, is posterior, posterior, anterior, and rotary. And then last but not least, front plank with reach. So we already know the front plank is an anterior core. Now that we add a reach component, we added a anti-rotation component or a rotary component, right? Because I'm going from 4 points of contact to 3. I'm resisting the urge to rotate my hips as I do this movement, while also resisting the urge to extend. Therefore, a front plank with reach has an anti-rotation component and also an anterior core component.
To summarize this video, classifications are based on the primary muscles or area targeted during a movement. Only 7 exercises were shown, but you may have noticed a trend. Exercises performed in a prone or supine position were categorized as anterior core. Exercises performed on your side were categorized as lateral. Exercises performed with a band pull to one side had a single arm and or single leg component to the movement were categorized as rotary, and although posterior core didn't have the best showing here, exercises that usually target the glutes are most likely categorized as posterior. This cheat sheet can be applied to most core exercises. However, if you still know the answer off the top of your head, simply try the exercise to get a better feel for the movement and ask yourself what movement you are resisting. If you can do those things and answer those questions, then you should have no problem categorizing core exercises.